Uh, Today, in the chuck, you can see it's, we're beyond that. One of the things that has really helped me is this thing. And it fits right on the headstock. And I don't know if you had trouble, but I sometimes turn them between centers. When I demoed for the kids the other day, probably the arbor hadn't been cleaned. There was probably oil or something in there. Every time I could hit it with the gouge, it would stop. The headstock's still spinning, but it's spinning in that. I had to keep tightening. And I really like this because once you thread that on there, and it gets right up tight, then this isn't going to spin, and you can cut on it, and then you can turn this thing around. Either turn it or have a glued-on foot back here, like I've got on that. Turn this down to whatever size you want, and set that in the chuck. Reverse it, which is what we're going to do today. But I really, and this is about a $20 part. It's got a good, healthy 3/8 inch lead screw in there. And the other thing it does, and this is what I think is really important, when you tighten that down, that will hold your wood tight, square, flat on there. Then you can deal with this side. I drew a piece on here which is similar to what I had when I started this. I just had this flat piece of wood. What if, and you want to put a foot on here, what if the wood was kind of like this? So then you put a piece on there. So what I like to do, especially if you're going to leave your foot on there, a piece of your foot like this, if you do that, then that allows you to use the entire piece of really good wood you had without cutting part of it away for a foot to grip onto somehow. So I like to do that. I just put the piece of walnut on there, or a piece of maple on there to kind of accentuate, show you what I meant. But if you're going to do that, if you glue a foot onto this and it's crooked like this, when you get down to where it's time to square this up, you're going to have walnut sticking up here. It really looks amateurish. So what I can do is I take this thing here, it's on the lathe, and I just use a scraper, a flat scraper, and I make this. So this is parallel to this. Even if you've got a big bulky piece, you can still do that. And then the last thing I do before I go to night is I have a piece that I've cut that I'm going to use for a foot. I smear same glue on, waterproof Elmer's or whatever it is, and run my tailstock up like this, tighten it down, and overnight this is glued to my workpiece. Take it back off of this thing and put it on a jam chuck and work on it, or I can grab it here and cut the inside out like that. So that's what I'm showing you today. If you don't take the time to make this and that parallel, then you're going to have you're going to have to cut the foot right off completely and cut into your good piece. Something to think about. Any questions, comments? And I'm also going to, the other thing I want to mention, how I came into this. I think I got this from Gary Smith. He cut down a bunch of big maples in his yard. He was throwing firewood-sized chunks out, and so I took one. It's been a while, and I had this. It was covered, but wasn't inside. It wasn't heated or anything. It was covered though. And I set this up on the lathe. I liked it. I was kind of enthused. I saw the grain, sanded it off nice. And went in and had a lunch or something. I came back out. Here's a crack right there, that fast. So I had another piece that I knew was cracked. And this was my practice piece, and I put some pieces in there, just straight pieces. This is ebony. Was over again to Bell Hardwoods and bought some strips of ebony, and You don't have to have any walnut would have worked. Or if you had walnut, you could use maple or cherry or something like that. Wouldn't matter. And just cut that out, pounded them in, and I'll show you when we get out there. They stuck out a little bit here, and I knew it was long enough to where I should be able to pick them up when I cut the inside, and I was able to do that. And I've made, since then, I've made 3 or 4 pieces like that. And in the places where I'm selling some of this stuff, he said, people will come in, pick that up, and say, I want this. Because it's different, it's weird, I don't know. So, at least you save a piece of wood, is the way I see it. So I'll show you how I do that, real simple, I like simple things. Well, first I'll show you how I cut a foot off, and we'll do that, and then I'll set up, only take a second. I'll show you how I put those, I don't even know what they're called, but they stop it dead from splitting. I haven't had any splits since I put one of those in there.
How do you cut the slots to put the piece in there?
I'll show you that.
Okay,
I got the equipment there.
okay.
It's not high tech. The thing I'm using, I bought at Menards for $6.
It's something I can understand then, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, you gotta dump stuff down. I'm the same way. It's kind of like when we had years ago demoed how I did this. And some people in here are machinists and know what they're doing. And he's got a special little jig that puts it in every dot. And I just jam a piece of wood against a piece of ply or a 1/4-inch piece of Luan with lines on it. And it's night and day, but works for me, works better for him, so what he does.